everybody, and welcome to a brand new episode of Caleb's Crazy Videos. And I know it's been a long time, but now the wait is over. Welcome to the brand new Caleb Science Video. So far we have one science video, which is the last video, which is on what is outer space. We've learned about planets and stars and black holes that can suck up and kill you. But beside that point, we are going to be discussing a brand new point, which is going to be on something that not a lot of people think of. But this is not a scientific episode. This is a mathematical episode. We are going to learn about a simple thing in math that we don't always think of. We take for granted because we know so much about it. But it's always good to review things that you forgot about. And now I present to you the brand new mathematical episode, What Are Shapes? Anyway, I'm sure everyone who's watching this video knows what shapes are. But do you really know what shapes are? I mean, even if you do, it's always good to review and make sure you know what you are supposed to know about shapes. Now, shapes come in all shapes and sizes. When it comes to shapes like this, and then like this, and then like that, and then that. But every shape is a shape. But other than that, there are two types of shapes. There are irregular figures, like this, and there's polygons, like this. See, a polygon is any shape that is closed. Any shape that has a complete lining. A shape that doesn't have like a half of it have nothing on it. Like a triangle or a square and stuff, those are considered polygons. But we're not going to be talking about irregular figures today. We're going to be talking about different types of polygons. Polygons is actually one of the two types of shapes. But now, how many different types of polygons are there? Well, there are actually a lot of different types of polygons. But we are going to be considering about 8 polygons. Yes, 8 polygons. You're going to learn about each and every one of those polygons and how they're formed and what they look like and everything. And also, we are going to learn the answers to 3 questions when we discuss each of these 8 polygons. First question, how many sides does this polygon have? Number 2, how many angles does this polygon have? And number 3, how many points or vertices does the polygon have? But before we discuss any of those, some of you may not know exactly what an angle is, or a side, or a vertice. So allow me to just do a quick review on those parts of shapes. So let me just do something real quick. Let's see. So this is like an average shape right here. This is actually a square, and we're going to be discussing the square later in this lesson. But there are 3 main parts of a shape. There's its vertices, angles, and sides. So, first we're going to discuss about what sides are. Sides are really just different lines in a shape. A shape can have up to 100 sides, or only 3 sides. Well, you would know. You'll just have to find out how many sides it is in order to figure out what kind of shape it is. So this is a square. This square has 4 sides, and we're going to be talking about that later. So see if you can remember that, and that'll help you help you find the answers to the questions later in this lesson. But first, these are sides. Like these are 4 sides. The sides are actually just lines of a shape. Different types of shapes. They each have different numbers of lines. Like this is one side, that's another side. Now how about angles and vertices? Now angles and vertices are actually sort of in the same area, but one's towards the outer part of the shape and the others toward the inner part. First, let's talk about angles. Angles are parts that are in the inner part of the shape. See how an angle is when two lines collide together, and whatever measure is right between those is considered an angle. An angle is right inside here, like this has all these angles. And then vertices are these. Vertices are points. When two lines meet together in the shape, it'll form a point, or mathematically a vertice. And this is a vertice, and that's also a vertice. So now we have just figured out what vertices, angles, and sides are. Now we are going to figure out how many angles, vertices, and sides are in each of the 8 polygons we're going to be discussing. So without further ado, here are the 8 polygons we're discussing. First off, we're going to discuss a specific polygon called a circle. Now, you may wonder how many sides, vertices, and angles. Well, we do know approximately one thing about circles, about 2 things about circles. One thing is that they don't have any vertices. Because if you look at a circle, you don't see any points or any points, and then under a point will be with the angle. If there's no points, there'll be no angles. So a circle doesn't have any points at all, or vertices, or mathematically vertices, and it doesn't have any angles. And then sides. Well, the amount of sides that a circle may have, to mathematical scientists, it's a little tough to actually figure out. I mean, sometimes they think it just has one side, that just circular part just forms one side. They think it has no sides. Some people think it has like 1 billion sides all together, forming this one round shape. So we are going to call this circle a neutral shape. So in this case, a neutral shape is going to be a shape that doesn't really have any angles or vertices and really doesn't have any sides. So a circle, and also ovals. Ovals are just like stretched out circles. They also do not have any points, vertices, or sides. So those will also fall under the neutral shape. But what about shapes that do have sides and vertices? We will call those regular shapes. Well, actually, since these are polygons, so we're going to do a neutral polygon, which are the circles, not neutral shape. So actually, take that out. Take that out of your brain right now. So, circles and ovals are going to be called neutral polygons. You know, the polygon's a closed figure, and neutral polygon means it won't have any sides, vertices, or angles. And then there'll also be regular polygons, which are like the polygons that we're going to be So there's 7 other polygons we're going to be discussing, and those are all going to be regular polygons. Other than the circle and oval, the rest of these will be regular polygons, I assure you. Okay, so here's another thing. There is no such thing as a shape with only 2 sides. You can't possibly draw out a shape that only has 2 sides, because it'll only form like half of the shape. The smallest amount of sides a shape can have is 3. So, let's think about it. What kind of shape has 3 sides? Well, this shape goes by no other name, but it's called a triangle. Now, I'm going to show you. Now, this shape right here, I'm going to turn this into a triangle. Actually, no, I'm just going to draw a triangle on here, so just give me a second. Pardon me about that. That's just the paper that just fell down. Okay. This is a triangle. A good outlined triangle. Now, remember the 3 questions we're going to need to find out? We're going to need to find out how many sides it has, how many angles it has, and how many vertices it has. So first we know that a triangle has 3 sides. Now, Next, we're going to look at the vertices. How many vertices does this triangle have? Well, let's see. So these are vertices, so let's count. 1, 2, 3. So, a triangle has 3 sides and 3 vertices. Now, what about how many angles does a triangle have? Well, I can actually answer this question without even looking at a triangle. You can just look at the name of the word triangle and realize that a triangle and know how many angles a triangle has. Now think about it. The word triangle is split into 2 different parts. There's the root, which is angle, and the prefix, which is tri. Now tri, T-R-I, is actually a Greek or Latin word meaning 3. And then angle, and then the other part is angle. And we know what an angle is. An angle is a part that's inside a shape. So put them together. 3 angle. What does that tell you? That tells you that a triangle has 3 angles. Not 1, not 2, not 4, but 3 angles. Now, how can we prove that a triangle has 3 angles? Because what if someone asks you, just because you looked at the name and it means that there's 3 angles in a triangle does not mean that there's 3 angles in a triangle. Well, we're going to prove that person that what we mean that a triangle has 3 angles is actually correct. So, how can we prove that it's true? Well, just simply get a triangle, and then simply count how many angles it has. Let's count together. 1, 2, and 3. It doesn't have 4 angles. It doesn't have 2 angles. It has 3. So now, if you remember how many sides, vertices, and angles a triangle has, I think you might be noticing a pattern. The amount of angles and vertices and sides of a triangle are all the same. Did you realize that? They are all exactly the same. So how many how many angles, vertices, and sides are in a triangle? So remember, they have 3 vertices, 3 sides, and 3 angles. So we can now realize that just by looking at the name triangle, we will know that any triangle will have to have 3 vertices, 3 sides, and 3 angles. So now you know what a triangle is. So you know what a triangle is, what it looks like, and how many vertices, sides, and angles a triangle has. And you learned a 4th thing too. You learned how you're able to figure out how many angles are in a triangle just by looking at its name. So just remember that. So now this video is getting pretty long. So we are going to put a pause on this lesson. This will be part 1 on what are mathematical on shapes, on what are shapes. And we're going to be doing a part 2 that I'll be talking about all the other shapes. So, I hope you guys enjoyed this video on learning about basic shapes. We learned about circles, and we learned about triangles. So, I hope you enjoyed this part of the video. So, first, let's just do a quick recap of what we learned. We learned 1, we learned what a shape is, what a polygon is, what an irregular shape is. We learned about an irregular polygon and neutral polygon. And we learned about circles and triangles. And then we are going to learn about some other shapes too. So, here is going to be the word that I need you to remember in the next part of this video. Think of these words, actually. It's words. Think of square, pentagon, hexagon, octagon, and septagon. Think of those words during the next part of this video, and I'm sure they'll actually be familiar to you because we are going to be learning about those types of shapes. We're going to be learning about what they are, what they look like, and how many vertices, angles, and sides they have. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Feel free to write what you thought about the video in the comments below, and feel free to subscribe. You all have a shapeful day, and remember, this is part 1 of Caleb's Math. What are shapes?